And then I was invited to manage the main press center for the Olympics, and I had to walk away from the digital publishing and take that opportunity, once in a lifetime chance. And then immediately after that I was recruited into Challenger World, which was the original name of the company that we're working on right now. It's sort of taken quite a few different changes over the years. It started out as a business case competition project, and once a year they would have a large conference, and one business case would be chosen. They would be awarded $250,000 to go and implement it to have the largest impact on the world. And we started to think about it and realized, why just do one project per year when we could create a platform that would allow hundreds or thousands or ideally millions of these sorts of projects to be created and implemented and owned by the people who participate in it. So that's sort of what we're doing with the collaboration platform right now. And we can go into that a little later, but that's sort of my journey and how I got here.
I think they turned it up.
Well, I think
they just went there talking, now let's raise it. Neil Haboush. I'm actually originally from San Diego, California. I ended up in Canada, and I'll just tell you a bit of that journey. My mother was originally from Montreal, so I thought I would go up there for a year of university, leaving Washington State, and I ended up staying there for 36 years. I got married, had kids, dogs, and so forth. Originally I wanted to be a lawyer, which is oddly enough
There's a little irony.
There is irony. And I wanted to be a lawyer because I actually want to be a criminal lawyer. I always found, I used to watch Ironsides and American Show. I always thought that was cool. As I got up to Montreal, part of my family that was there had a clothing manufacturing business. And there was an illness in the family, and I was asked to come in and work. It was a small business, can you come in, work in the summer. And I actually started by, making patterns, cutting fabric, all the normal stuff. And my uncle passed away, and there was a bit of a void in the company, so I was asked to go into sales. And I'm a young guy at this time. I'm about 20 years old. I go, sure, what the heck? I left California to go to Washington, up here in Montreal. It doesn't matter. So I got into that, and within about a year and a half, I was running the company outright. The company was growing and so forth. And then, where there's a will, there's a family. And everybody in the original family started fighting. And I said, you know what, I'm too young for this. I don't really care. I want something else. So I went to work for a pretty substantial manufacturer in Canada. I learned quite a bit, but I got very frustrated with the bureaucracy. And I was the national sales manager, but there was just something I didn't quite enjoy about the business. It wasn't customer friendly enough or whatever. Very successful business. So one day I upped and I quit. I had great contacts. I was selling across Canada, all major retailers. And I quit. And I go, okay, now what do I do? So I went, and this is a true story. I went and printed a business card. I got a toll-free number. This is back in the 80s. And I got in my car and I drove to Toronto. That's all I got. I went to see my related clients that I knew I did an excellent job, and I came back with $500,000. Now I'm saying, okay, that's great. What the hell am I going to do with it? I got no manufacturing, and this is a true story. I was in shock at the response I got. So I came back and I had a couple buddies. I went to see them. I said, look, you're not going to believe what happened to me. He starts laughing. Only you could get yourself in this shit. I said, it's no problem. I'm going to produce everything for you. I'm going to put it on your labels. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. We did it. We executed. We got everything out. And I tell that story because that launched me into my first business on my own. And through that process, I learned a very, very important aspect of business. I knew from the moment I took that order and I executed, my biggest concern was that the client never had to talk to me again once they gave me those orders and I wrote back. And it kind of gave me my mission statement for my business going forward. My goal and our company, and again, I started my business and it grew really nicely. It was up until the borders came down and you couldn't manufacture in Canada. We did quite well, and then everything became imported. We don't make anything anymore. I got out of that business, but it just by fluke, by accident, it gave me something very important I'm carrying through business, which is when I see a customer, I want them to feel and understand that they will not that all the way through because the next conversation I wanted to have with them was, what's next? What are we doing next? I never wanted to be having a conversation stepping me backwards. And I made sure all through my business world that the whole culture of everything I do is based around that premise. Because I'm a salesperson. What I want to do is keep making sales. I don't want to be talking about it. So that was my time in clothing, and I got out of clothing. And I'm going to try and do this as quick as possible. I didn't really know what I was going to do. And I ran into these guys, a couple of them, there were actually two people from China. One was a lady and another guy from Bermuda. Great technology people, programmers, and they were going to lose their visas in Canada. And I met them just by fluke. I had a problem, and they came in, and they're so talented, and I said, they like come to my ideas, and next thing you know, we started a company called Level 1 Data Services, and we created a gateway platform for online transactions, mainly around telephone sales, that mitigated risk for banks and clients. And that's how I got into technology. I'm not an IT guy. I don't understand much about anything. I just know that if you got something good, you can do something good with it. And I'll try and push it as best I can. And I did that, and then the gentleman that founded this project, Good Mind Challenger World, actually, I've known for several years. And he had taken it off the market. He'd done beta tests since 2000. This project started in 2008. And he's done beta tests involving MIT, Stanford, UCLA, CARE, all kinds of NGOs. And he's evolved the process to where we're actually doing our full launch in September, October. And he approached me and he said, you know, explain to me this business and these talks. So I said, well, you know all your stuff. I don't really understand it. So I went and read it and I came back and I said, you know what, it's really, really interesting. But your whole strategy, your whole launch strategy, your marketing strategy, you've been sold a bill of goods is to really to get something this fast off the goods. Sold a bill of goods is a long statement. The grassroots orientation that they wanted to do was just too massive, too extensive, too costly. Go around to each university, each NGO, and all these places to get this thing off the ground. You kind of have to get to the top and allow the top to not block everybody else coming in, because we're talking about transforming the language and the collaborative process, getting things done with greater efficiency on every level. Whether it be small level, whether it be in Haiti, whether it be here, whether it be in government, whatever the case may be, this will force efficiency in a different way of people working together. And it really goes back to how we used to work together as a society when we had nothing. We had to collaborate. We had to help each other. We had to get the sticks for the fire. We had to train people how to make fires. That's how we did. So we've kind of taken it back to that roots. Because innately, people do like to work with each other. Barriers to working with each other are taken down. And that's exactly what Good Mind Hunting is all about. And I started in November, full-time in January, and I'm the CEO, and I've been charged to actually run every aspect of it from the launch phase. And it's brought me to some interesting places. I've been on the road a little bit longer than Cam. My wife lets me know that. You know, last 2 months I've probably been home 5 or 6. I'm an avid golfer. Golf season just started in May and I've played twice. That's it. And I live on a golf course. And I'm just thinking now, when I get back, I have to go to New York for 2 days. So anyways, we're here, and that's kind of how life evolved. And I have to say, the one thing I take from my story is that I've never not looked at a path to go. In fact, what I really enjoy about life is what could come up that I never thought would. And it's been an amazing journey in the business world. You know, and along the way I've owned restaurants, I've owned a couple of other companies, I'm involved in another technology startup. And it's really keeping, the two things I can say are, you know, when you meet that customer, move on. You never have to talk to them about what you did. And always keep your eyes open and your mind open for what may be the possibility. So that's my 7.5-minute story.